Our next item are the Nevada Gaming Control Board Division reports. I believe that this month we are hearing the Enforcement Division.
Thank you. This time has been placed on our agenda to allow the chief of a game control board division or their designee to update the public and the industry and the board on matters that we may not otherwise be aware of, and to be sure that the public is aware of all the hard and good work that the gaming agents do for the state of Nevada. Chief Torgerson, will you be making a presentation this afternoon? Great, thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Hendrick, Member Assad, Member Watkins, and Madam Secretary. Enforcement Division Chief Christy Torgerson for the record. Today, I will be providing an overview of the division's structure and our primary duties. My presentation will conclude with Staff Officer Rebecca Garcia sharing a sneak peek of a new technology project, which I believe will have significant impact on our Nevada licensees. The Enforcement Division is a law enforcement arm of the board. The board employs 122 Enforcement Division personnel, 94 Nevada State Peace officers, and 28 administrative personnel. And the division operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in 5 offices throughout the state, to include Las Vegas, Laughlin, Reno, Carson City, and Elko. Enforcement Division agents have college degrees or an equivalent combination of education and investigative experience. All new hire applicants must meet the minimum physical fitness requirements and obtain a Nevada Post certificate within 1 year of employment. I do have a little thing here. We are hiring. We are currently hiring lateral or sworn officers and will potentially be hiring additional non-sworn candidates again in the spring of next year. Our Las Vegas operations are divided into 2 investigative bureaus. We have an investigative service bureau and a support service bureau. The investigative services bureau is made up of 2 units, the field services and special investigations unit. So a little bit about our field services unit. Field services unit takes calls for service from members of the public and our licensees 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their primary responsibility are to conduct criminal and regulatory investigations and to investigate disputes between patrons and licensees. Subsequently, agents must write detailed investigative reports in support of criminal prosecution and to document licensee violations for board consideration. Field service agents issue criminal citations, they make arrests, extradite prisoners in state, testify in court, and conduct security for all board and commission meetings. I would also like to highlight the Enforcement Division's work at Nevada annual horse racing events this year. Pursuant to Reg 30, Enforcement Division agents oversees events in Elko and Ely each year. Northern office staff process all licensing and fees for racing participants, and they work with racing stewards to ensure the integrity of the races and all wagering. The second unit within our investigative bureau is our Special Investigations Unit. Special investigations agents, they conduct complex investigations, they gather criminal and intelligence information, and make recommendations on potential candidates for the list of excluded persons. In their investigative capacity, agents are responsible for interviewing witnesses and complainants, interrogating suspects, conducting covert surveillance operations, and obtaining information from confidential informants and other cooperating witnesses. Notably, a new SI duty is to manage incoming NGCB cyber notifications industry-wide. The types of investigations that SI conducts are illegal, gambling and bookmaking, money laundering cases, structuring, skimming, counterfeit money, and excluded person nominations. This work is often performed in conjunction with allied law enforcement partners, including local, state, or federal agencies. The division currently has 4 full-time task force officers embedded with federal agencies, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Homeland Security, Drug Enforcement Agency, IRS, and we have a part-time partnership with the United States Secret Service. Additionally, all of our special investigations agents have clearances to work in part-time partnerships as well. We also have a special agent who acts as a liaison with local law enforcement and regulatory partners to help develop intelligence and solve crimes throughout the state. So the second bureau in enforcement is our Support Services Bureau. Primary responsibilities for the Support Services Bureau are regulatory approvals, background investigations, intelligence collection, and division support to include dispatch and clerical operations. Also, due to the nature of their assignments, we have a few superstars that frequently engage in public speaking to train and educate a diverse set of board stakeholders. The first unit to be highlighted is the division's analyst unit. The analyst unit is primarily tasked with providing analytical and strategic support to field services and special investigations agents. Analysts also work with allied law enforcement partners to procure sensitive intelligence information and to identify crime patterns. Agency assists are also something that is numerous within the analyst ranks. We engage with allied partners frequently, and the analysts provide logistical support by processing Regulation 5.055, which are gaming employee terminations. They also analyze book wagering and suspicious transaction reports. Lastly, the analysts provide division support to our investigators by conducting a variety of database checks. They also provide support with phono lineups, facial recognition imaging, and analysis of financial records. The next unit up is our clerical unit. Our clerical unit processes all division casework to include arrest cases, citations, and affidavits. Staff also provides support in processing and mailing all of the division approvals that we generate within it's including, for instance, all of our race and sportsbook approvals and those things that we're doing on behalf of the chair as well, per his designee. The next unit is the operations unit. So they have a regulatory mission, of course. They are, of course, sworn officers. They're just TDY to a specialized unit. So they still maintain their sworn status. The operations unit has a regulatory mission in response to industry questions. They evaluate new industry concepts and conduct licensee inspections. Operations unit agents work with a diverse set of stakeholders to include nonprofit groups for lottery and charitable gaming events. The ops unit also processes a variety of board approvals to include surveillance systems, club venues, gaming salons, slot tracking, race and sports books, charitable lotteries, chips and tokens, and new game applications. And additionally, the unit is responsible for the management of all evidence and board revolving funds. So operations agents frequently engage in special projects and meetings. A few things that have come to my radar are revisions to the surveillance standards, maybe now to Regulation 28 as well. And also, they have been receiving a lot of industry requests for streaming and guidance on that. So they're looking to stream maybe gaming operations, and they're looking for best practices and kind of the board's guidance with that. The team and operations, they continue monthly meetings with staff and also with sports integrity meetings and just looking at best practices and new concepts and industry trends. The next unit up is our employee registration unit. So ERU actually serves the entire state of Nevada by processing thousands of gaming employee registrations each year. In 2022, ERU processed 42,859, an increase of 6.75% from the previous year. Additionally, ERU staffs a 24/7 call center and performs dispatch services to support division agents. ERU personnel also manage all NGCB warrants. And one thing I did put on this slide is we did have a change to our enforcement division phone numbers earlier in the year. So we do have enforcement division, the main number, and also gaming employee registration number. So the last unit I would like to highlight is the background investigations unit. Background investigators are responsible for conducting investigations and registration of all Nevada gaming employees. Agents determine an applicant's suitability to obtain or maintain gaming employee registration in the state of Nevada. And they also determine if security officers can carry firearms in accordance with state and federal laws. Agents also attend BI hearings in support of objected registrants and manage the limited work card program. With that being said, in summary, to wrap things up, the Enforcement Division conducts non-traditional law enforcement operations. We're the largest division at the board, and we have the broadest set of stakeholders. Enforcement Division agents experience impactful training opportunities, along with a great workplace and culture. That concludes my overview of the Enforcement Division. We have a lot of units, a lot going on. But before I introduce Staff Officer Garcia, do you have any questions for me?
Any questions from board members for Chief Torgerson?
Thank you for your presentation, Chief Torgerson. It was very thorough. Just one question. You mentioned that the majority, I believe you mentioned earlier that the majority of personnel in the enforcement division are sworn officers, and
Correct.
that was 92?
94.
94. Can you identify what types of positions don't require you to be a sworn officer to be employed with the enforcement division at the board?
So the PCNs that we have that are deemed to be classified personnel are actually our admin staff. So we have, admin 2s, 3s, and 4. We have 1 4 within the division. That would be my administrative assistant. All others are required to be sworn and go through all those certifications that we have each year and the training annually.
And you'll be opening up, you said you'll be hiring for those positions when?
So at this point in time, we've actually filled 3 positions. We're waiting for the backgrounds. They're pending. Those 3 individuals, they're not sworn yet. We're actually sponsoring them to go to a police academy. And so it takes a little bit longer for those folks to step up. But if their backgrounds are clear, we hope to send them in November. And then that leaves the rest of our vacancies. We're hoping to get lateral or sworn officers from other departments or other jurisdictions that have post-reciprocity.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Judge, any questions?
Thank you, Chairman. I would thank you for that excellent presentation.
You're welcome.
Very informative, and I would just like to extend my appreciation and thanks for you and all of your agents for basically putting your lives on the line. You're the front line of protection here for all of us and for the community and the gaming industry, and we can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Judge Assad. All right. With that being said, I would now like to introduce Staff Officer Rebecca Garcia to offer a sneak peek of our plans for a new gaming employee registration system.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you, Chief Torgerson, Chair Hendrick, board members, Madam Secretary. Okay, so I'm going to be presenting a little bit of information today regarding the new gaming employee registration system, which is set to launch, if all goes according to plan, in the first quarter of 2024. We've actually been working on this since January of 2021, so it's been a very heavy lift in conjunction with the HTC cyber representatives as well. So I just have a couple of screenshots here to share from the new system. You'll notice it's a very different UI design from our current system, which was developed in 2009. Well, it was developed in 2007 and 8 and then released in 2009, actually. So the new UI design greatly improves functionality and ease of usability of the actual interface itself for licensees, for our applicants, as well as for board staff. So I believe it's a much better representation of the board's brand, and it fixes various issues that have been identified within the existing system over these years. It kind of ties up some loose ends and fixes various things to provide better functionality. So what we're looking at here, this is improved functionality for our human resources representatives with our licensees via the GCB app system. So this will provide the ability for licensees to self-manage subordinate accounts within each licensee within the GCB app system, as they do today for submissions such as tax forms, book wagering reports, and suspicious transaction reports. That will extend that same functionality into the gaming registration system and thereby remove that burden from board staff and having to administer those accounts manually and give the licensees more control over maintaining that accuracy within their own establishments within the system. It provides for streamlined application processing and tracking. As you can see here, it utilizes and introduces a new concept of a dashboard view with responsive widgets to show applications in various stages of processing, and it allows for filtering and searching for data. So this is an example of the first tab, applications in process, which shows different categories of applications where a licensee can click in and the widgets will shift and show whatever information it is that they're looking to synopsize there within the dashboard view. It also replaces present-day paper processes and workflows with new, more sophisticated mechanisms for electronic data exchange and storage within the system. and it provides for better handling of applicants working at multiple properties, of which we have many in today's workforce. This will enable easier application process and more accurate tracking by the board of these employees and by the licensees, I should add. The new system, very importantly, will introduce the ability to register an individual to more than one property at a time, which is absent from the current system and is a significant weakness. So this will accommodate that nicely. Also provide for better handling of applicants who do not have a social security number to be able to process through the system as well without having to assign sort of an internal placeholder social. So this is the view of an applications in process screen. And the second snip that I have here is existing employee transactions whereby a licensee would perform renewals, terminations of existing gaming employees and things of that nature. As you can see, it's the same dashboard view with the widgets as well. So they have for both new employees as well as their existing employees, those same types of features to manage all of their employees within their locations. In the second portion here, this is a new public login portal. The new public login portal will be integrated with GCB apps. This is on the applicant side. It will provide a much better applicant experience, a more smooth, modern look and feel to the applicant screens. So this is a couple of snips showing where an applicant will receive an email, basically an invitation to create a new account within the board's public login portal. And then that individual would log into the public login portal and manage and complete whatever applications are assigned to them at that point. The design is also extensible across various platforms such as desktops, laptops, tablets, smartphones to better accommodate the public's usage of the system. The current legacy system has some challenges in that area. Sometimes individuals are trying to fill out an application on something other than a desktop, and it doesn't always behave quite as nicely. So the new application has taken that under consideration and will perform much better on whatever type of device they might be utilizing. This is just a screenshot of the public login portal. So you can kind of see along the left-hand side where it tracks as an applicant goes through the application process and gives either a green check mark if everything is complete or some sort of a little yellow caution symbol if something needs updated, or a little red, I believe it's an exclamation mark if something requires further attention from the applicant. So kind of to wrap up, I would ask the licensees to be looking and listening for forthcoming communication in the coming months regarding training and more details about the rollout plan for the new gaming employee registration system. It's certainly our intent to provide adequate training, make sure that the licensees feel comfortable and confident about the new system, and that our staff here at the board feels prepared to administer the system and support it for the licensees and applicants as well.
Great. Thank you. Wonderful presentation, and glad to hear that the system and gaming enterprise SAGE process is working. Look forward to this happening, and I'm sure the industry does as well. So thank you for that. And thank you, Chief Torgerson, as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any questions from board members?
Thank you for your presentation. It's much appreciated and very thorough. I do have one question. You mentioned that this new system will allow applicants to be registered at multiple locations at the same time. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And so how significant is the number of applicants who need to be registered at multiple locations? Just trying to have an understanding of like the time savings that this will provide.
Sure, and it's not only a time savings, but also increased accuracy and effectiveness as far as tracking those work locations. I don't really have any numbers handy, but where we find these types of instances is depending on the business model of our licensees, the corporations that are employing these folks. It just depends on whether they intend to employ that individual at one property, or if you take a large group of casinos under common management, sometimes they will have like subsets within their corporate structure where an individual might work at properties A, B, and C, for example, or some of our sister locations in the northern part of the state are in close proximity where they'll hire an individual within the company umbrella, but essentially utilize that person wherever he or she may be needed. on a daily basis. And so we've kind of had to develop a workaround with the existing system to eliminate the need for multiple transactions. And we've used a construct of group codes, which is, it's been a bit of a trade-off. It solves one problem of additional time and, transaction fees for the public. However, it creates additional administrative problems on the board side. So it was the best available option, but not a perfect fix by any means. And in this instance, the licensees will be able to simply select one or many or all of the locations that they manage where an individual works. And so it'll be pretty significant in the measure of effectiveness that it provides in tracking the work locations. I do anticipate that it will also reduce the time spent on the process by both board staff as well as licensees, particularly just because the group codes is a bit of a confusing implementation that will be removing from the equation and then properly tracking individuals by the actual license location at which they work.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that explanation.
Judge?
Yeah, thank you. That was an excellent presentation, very informative. Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you both. Appreciate it.